Good evening, guys. Tonight on the Gadget Shelf, we will be talking about Dere, which is a Chinese brand for laptop computers, and they're making waves and uh, they're really slowly creeping into the Philippine market through Lazada. So let's go over the purchase history of why we have a laptop here that we're going to be talking about. Around a month ago, I was tasked to find a computer that would be used for um, homeschooling. And the mandate was for the cheapest one that we could find. And basically, this is it. The I was pushing for a more known brand that we see regularly here in the country, but most of them, if you look at listings right now, most of them start off at 30,000 and above. Everything below are Chromebooks. They don't have an OS. And while Chromebooks are okay, I don't really recommend them for novice users or learners because it's it's harder to get grips with, especially when the ones you'd be talking to are used to the regular Windows environment. So troubleshooting might be a pain. So we didn't opt for that. So why was there selected? I've been eyeing an alternate in Teclast, Ipason, Chewy. So they were all there. But eventually, Dere took the price because of a particular feature that the sponsor really liked, which is the keypad. And this particular one, it's a 15.6-inch laptop with a full keyboard. So it has everything up to the keypad. The unit that we're talking about here is the R9 Pro. And let's take a look at that over at the overhead cam. Just uh, let's switch to that. All right. Overhead. There we go. Let's just raise it a little bit here. Okay. So this is the R9 Pro. Okay. There you go. It's 15.6 inches. Oops. Goes this way. It has a USB 3. The power port is a barrel type connector, a full-sized HDMI, and then a LAN port, another USB 3, a combo jack, and then a micro SD slot for when you want to increase the memory. This particular one, the R9 Pro, this model, has 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. So this is the keyboard. It's the normal, and then the feature that sold this laptop, which is the numpad. It has a really big trackpad over here. It's actually unnecessarily big, but you can, if you slide your hand over, the mouse can travel beyond the screen already. So let's look right now at the brand. So a little refresher. What happened was when I bought this unit, when this came along, there was already a Windows, of course, installed in it, a Windows 10 Pro, there was a user registered to the device. I checked it out. The user is pretty basic, so there's really nothing wrong with using it right then and there. But uh, to be safe, completely resetting it would be a good option. Now, I did try to reset this um, by itself, just using the Windows recovery environment, but for some reason, it doesn't push through. Like, I tried it maybe 5 times. Anything within the Windows environment didn't work. So what happened with this was I had to reformat it to an older Windows version. And when I did that, nothing worked. The the trackpad didn't work. The everything. There's a lot of drivers that are missing. Eventually, though, when the Windows got updated to 1903, almost everything ran except for a single driver that was missing. And I pestered them for that. So, so what do we have in terms of communicating with Dere? That's what we're uh, looking at here. So Dere has a website, a very old one, and you won't get anything from here. I tried the Chinese version that is translated, but there's nothing here. These are all old models, and there's no support to talk about. And but now it would seem that they moved all of their efforts to socials. So they have a very active Facebook. As you can see here, the last post was yesterday about a particular model. You see here, it's the same model but 12 gigs, and then it has a dollar pricing because it's Alibaba. And then their pin post, which is a really interesting one, talks about, sorry about that, talks about a local warranty to the Philippines, which is really good news. They also have a product community group which you join. So all the communication happens here. This is, I don't know why, but it looks like most of the uh, queries here are from the Philippines. So they might have, this might be a very specific to the Philippines group. They also have Twitter, and they have their Lazada message, which is where this particular thing leads you. When you click this, it goes into their shop and you can message them. And it turns out this is the best way to communicate with them. As you can see here, I did leave this is the communication trail. You can see that I was asking for the drivers, and then the reply is an Alibaba translated reply, so I would assume that it's a Chinese behind this. And then I sent them so this is a snapshot of the older Windows version. And as you can see, there's a lot of drivers. Eventually, it updated, and then I sent them a new image that shows of the missing driver. So they wanted me to use driver talent, and it works. Surprisingly, I probably use that for in the future. So driver talent just basically scans your computer and finds the drivers even though you don't know what they are. Driver talent will find it. So that's a very good experience as far as support goes. The chat system works. And that's it. So let's go back to the unit and talk about how it came here. So it comes in a brown box, and it's way bigger than this because the box for this is not very big. It's just a little bit bigger than the computer itself. So this is the box. Yeah, it's pretty basic box. No branding whatsoever. Yeah, you don't see the branding here. Yep. So this is the entire box. And the branding you can only see when you get to the computer itself. So this comes inside of a brown box, which also has a few peripherals that they give away as gifts. So let me just get them. These are they. There's a mouse pad. That's Razer right there. There's a USB hub. There's a mouse, standard wired mouse. And there's this, an HD webcam, which I did see in other people that got their gift. So this might have been an exclusive for that time that I purchased. I'm not sure. But they are also selling this online as a different product. So this is a Dere branded webcam. It's 1080p 30 FPS and it has a manual focus ring right here. And it's really fun to work with. I actually tried it on this because this already has a webcam, but it's a VGA webcam, so the resolution is really poor. This one is a 1080p webcam, but you need to focus it so manually. So that's the thing. This output's quite. It's a very usable image, not highly unlike the integrated webcam. Now, I chose this white one specifically because if you see here, let's look at the page for the purchasing of this particular model, R9 Pro. All right. So this model, oh, this is the page for this model. And there's a very, very big configuration instruction right here. So let me just read this out. Due to recent shortage of materials, we have assigned different molds for different configurations, so be aware. The primary difference is the camera. That's why it's red here. So when you get, because I was getting the 81128 version, if you chose the coral red, the camera would have been on the left side below. And if you chose either red or silver, you don't know which one you're going to get. On the other side, red and silver, top middle, which is the ideal position, and then left below for coral red as it is in the 8 gig version. So this is the higher tier. So this is the rest of the information. J4115, and then all the ports that we talked about earlier. There's no fingerprint here and no backlit keyboard. So as you can see, there's no white here. So I did assume that it would be silver and just hope for the best. And luckily, it turned out I got this is the white one that we got right here. And luckily, the camera is there on the top middle portion, which is the best position for the camera of this particular laptop model. So the R9 Pro is a chassis, and they do update the specification. So when you go online and look at reviews of other people that use this, they will have different processor configurations. But the 8 gig, 12 gig RAM, and 128 and was it 256 ROM are pretty constant. So they update the processor at at times. So this one is the Gemini Lake version. And overall, it's pretty responsive. It doesn't uh, you can't really do much with this Celeron processor by way of content creation or gaming, but if you turn all the settings to low, you can probably use it somewhat. For desktop publishing and all the necessary requirements of a homeschooling student, it should be fairly sufficient. The build is plastic, so we have lights here, indicator lights, a nice trackpad which you can cross over the entire screen with one swipe, a very responsive keyboard, and nicely protected by this included protector. So the protector comes with the box, and it's perfectly aligned to the original keyboard here. So you'd want this in place, especially if uh, no, you want this in place because it protects your keyboard from uh, dust and possible water damage. Hopefully, if the spill gets concentrated just around there. But you should really take care of this computer if you're going to be using one. So at the back, we have the model here, R9 Pro. It works with an adapter that has 12 volts and 3 amperes. So this is the adapter that comes with it. It's pretty basic. So I'm assuming if you lose this, you just need to find the right barrel size and then the right wattage, amperage, and you should be good to go. Now, there's a lot of screws here, and if you did want to open it, you need to remove them all. But if you wanted to update the um, storage, you can do that with this panel here. So it's quick access to the uh, what we call this memory. Uh, it escapes me, but the it's the small flat one. Yeah, that memory, that storage unit is just here. And when you remove this panel, and as you can see, you need to unscrew this part here, and since they stickered it, they will know if you did try to open this at even just this part here. There are vents or across, so it helps cool the device. I believe there's no fan, so this is basically passive cooling right here that we got. We have rubber feet on four sides here, and this is the physical makeup of the white version. As you can see, it's a very matte type of plastic, which I believe is a little bit too easily scratched. It does come with protective films all over, but it's not really nicely put, so you might as well just remove it. Mm, how has my experience been? Yep. So as far as typing out things go, it's a little bit hard to type here because of the size of this trackpad. You might want to turn this off by pressing the function and escape to disable it. Yeah, the palm rejection is not that good here. If you're using a mouse anyway, you might want to do that so you don't need to be going back in your whatever it is you're typing. Yep, now we got the mouse back. The screen is a little bit washed out. So uh, it's not any sort of expensive technology on the screen. You can see it on the camera. It's pretty washed out from a lot of angles. So head on, it's not a problem, but from the sides or a little bit off center, there would be some glaring issues already. So yeah, the R9 Pro is a very good, is a workable learn from home device or homeschooling device. And I believe the way they handle their socials and support responses, I think they're going to um, get into more homes, and there might be something brewing here with Dere because they do have offerings that are higher spec. And uh, with this information, I hope it helps you decide whether or not you do get Dere. And if you're looking for a really cheap homeschooling device, this would work for you. Um, it does only have 1 to 8 gigs, but that should be enough for uh, that's enough for a lot of things already. This one that I'm using only has 1 to 8. So there we have it. That's it for the Dere R9 Pro. That's my review of it and their support system. So thank you guys, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.